National Ball Hockey League, NBHL. First of all, the skill level, unreal.
Welcome to week 3 of the National Ball Hockey League. We're back in action after a week off, and today we're headed to Chicago for our next game broadcast coming up right after today's pregame show. Welcome to the NBHL on MVP TV. I'm your host, Lindsay Maychek. On today's show, we're going to have highlights, catch up with Chicago's own William Jocks, cut to Bernie's best bets, and showcase the matchups in the growing Chicago division that we'll see today. But I can't do this alone. I need our expert analyst here and my co-host, Daniel Wilson. So, Daniel, you're pumped for week 3 and pumped to be in Chicago.
Absolutely. Let's take a ride on the L down to the rink. Let's go.
Yes, you're pumped, but we have to recap what happened back in New Jersey last week. So we have a minute of highlights showcasing that great game. Let's take a look.
Get that one back to Grant. He gains the zone. Into the middle. For Viet. Across on the backhand stop. And they score! On the second chance, the backhander. That one he just tripped over himself. Rolfing. But he's slow to get up. He is going to go off the change. And they score! Late in the second period. A lot of battling for it in front of the penalty boxes. Ducks showing their tenacity here. Get this one in on the breakaway. Makes a move. Oh, and what a save! Wait to Barrett.
Go good.
Again, stopped at the point. Held in. There's another shot. That one did find its way to Barrett and makes the save. Behind the net, that one flipped back up. Romano on it. Just tries to get it deep. Doesn't get it out. And that's going to do it. That's the game. South Jersey Space Pirates take this one 2-1.
Lots of great plays last week. Obviously, close one. Daniel, you had to have fun calling that game.
Absolutely. I was more impressed that the Gloucester Township Ducks had kept that game very close. So that is going to be a very tight division. But that was then. This is now. What do we got for Chicago?
Yes, Chicago, excited to see it. And this, I have to give a shout out. This division had a high number of women players last year. So I got to give my girls, Danny, Larissa, and Eileen, who played on the Southsiders, a quick shout out. Love to see it. Love them as well. But before we go into their matchup with the Southsiders today and that analysis, there we go. There are my words. We're going to take a quick look at one of the best goals scored in the entire NBHL last year, courtesy of the amazing Scott Worgan. Let's take a look.
Now they get it out. Almost stopped. In come the Southsiders. Morgan again on the backhand, thinking about wrapping around, goes the other way, and he scores! Some fancy footwork by the captain, Scott Worgan, and it's 1-0.
Well, back and forth they went. Scott Worgan has been doing all the hard work today. He's had a lot of possession time. He sees the reverse him, tries to... Now, you usually try to throw the goaltender off in the slot, but he has to do this behind the net, which is more difficult than you think. But he just puts him out of position enough to get that wraparound in, even with a bunch of defenders around the net.
That's tough. I think there were 3 Dolphins in the area. Wade Bittner flopping side to side. I can't blame him for that one, though. You're not keeping that one out. That was all just will. The captain, Scott Worgan, just willed that one into the net and into a 1-0 lead for the Southside.
Great goal, great wraparound, getting dizzy watching him go back and forth there. Daniel, that had to be a fun one to call as well.
It was, and what was impressive is he had to do it all by himself. From behind the net, 3 defensemen. That is a very difficult play, and it requires a whole lot of skill. And we will see him today as they will take on what was the Dolphins, are now known as the Hornets. They will face each other today.
Yes, and we here at MVP TV have to give a special shout out to Scott as well. He is also a carpenter and helped build the platform that helped hold the camera to be able to capture those highlights. So skill on the rink, skill off the rink. Scott, we appreciate you not only giving us those great goals to watch, but also helping us be able to record them. So thank you very much. We have another great Chicagoan here, William Jocks, and we took some time to get to know him and preview today's game. So let's listen.
And if we play the game the proper way, we can compete with anybody, including the Southsiders. They're a really great team. The younger teams are good as well. But when we play our style, puck possession, lots of shots, lots of rebounds, we do have an opportunity to compete with everybody in that league.
So Daniel, do you agree with that analysis? They're able to compete with everybody in the league. What do you think?
Absolutely. The Raiders have been the main rival of the Southsiders, and they just need that little extra push to get them into the Mila Cup. The Southsiders were the only reason why they didn't make it last year, but maybe with a little revamp, they can make it this time.
Yes, and Billy on Team USA Masters, along with his best friend and center Frank Klein, who I played with in a few co-ed tournaments way back in the day. They're going to be competitive with anybody. So let's go, Daniel, into the matchups and get into the specifics here. We're going to first start with the Kings versus Union. Who are you taking?
Well, right now, the statistical advantage goes to the Belmont Heights Kings, but Belmont has had a tough season last year. They were in last place, but I got a feeling that they're going to be more on a level playing field. Palatine, they've already had one game. It was against the Raiders. Unfortunately for them, it was a mercy rule loss. Now, to be fair to them, they are a new team, so they're just getting their feet in the water. But it's really going to be tough to try to figure out who's going to be the top player on that team, since you got a whole bunch of new players. You have no idea what they bring. So this is going to be more of a let's see what they can do type of game.
Let's see what they can do type of game. Exactly that. So now let's shift over to the Raiders versus Stingrays here. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, easily the Raiders have the advantage in this game. You see John Kelly, on just one game, he has scored a hat trick, 3 goals, 1 assist, so already a dangerous player. And that's not even getting into some of their more top players, like Frank Klein. We were just mentioning it, William Jocks, who does have a shout out. That was against Palatine. The Stingrays, relatively new, but they do have some players that came over from the former Chicago Dolphins, which is a very youthful team. So we'll see if speed plays a factor, and we'll see if we'll have an upset today.
Yes, and one of their centers, Danielle, on the women's national team, and I know she's quite fast. We'll see if she makes a difference here for the Souths, or she's on the Southsiders, I'm sorry, the game coming up next. And I'm previewing because I'm so excited to give Danielle a shout out. So we're going to jump right into Southsiders versus Hornets. Danielle, speed up the middle, but also a lot of other great players, Danielle, that are going to be in this game.
Absolutely. The Southsiders, the current Chicago Division champion, fell short in the Mila Cup. They have ran into some tough competition. And we already mentioned Scott Worgan. He's yet to get on the score sheet yet, but don't count him out. He is a very dangerous player. And like I said, the Hornets are the former Chicago Dolphins. They're a very young team. They've really improved since then. So I would think that the Hornets are going to make things a little more competitive this season, especially with Wade Bittner in the net.
Yes, and I'm curious to know how the Chicago Dolphins got their name. I didn't know Chicago was known for its Dolphins, but you learn something new every day. But speaking of silly things, we have to go now to Bernie's best bets. He's going to lay out his picks, tell you who the surefire bets are, or who just his hunch are going to be. So Bernie, let's hear what you got this week in your picks.
All right, you degenerates. Welcome to Bernie's Best Bets Chicago edition. The city with the best food in the country, in my opinion, period, no debate. Take that, Kansas City. First up, we have the Kings versus the Union. This game goes to whoever scores first, and I think that's going to be the Kings' 3-1 win. If they don't, it's because Brill scored first. So next up, my pick, Raiders versus the Stingray. It's the Raiders. Solid goaltending and John Kelly lighting it up. That's hard to beat. Raiders by, get this, 4. All right, and lastly, Hornets versus Southsiders that's my pick, the Southsiders. Captain Wargan is taking this team all the way to the Milet Cup. I think Southsiders by 2. All right, that's it for me. Happy betting.
Southsiders 5-2. Great prediction. We'll see how Bernie does next week when we come back. Daniel, any last minute thoughts here as we wrap up and we get excited for 3 games here coming up in Chicago?
I will say that he did make a very bold prediction into predicting that the Southsiders are going to make it all the way to the Milet Cup. I don't know if he's referring to the tournament or the actual final, but I think that the Southsiders, they are a good team, but are they that kind of level? We'll definitely have to wait and see. They are playing in a relatively small division, but there are some new players. But the Southsiders, they are a candidate, but they also have the Raiders, so who knows?
Who knows? We will find out later. The audience watching today is going to find out later. We are so excited, and thanks everybody for tuning in to the pregame show here on MVP TV. I'm your host, Lindsay Maycheck, and for Daniel and the rest of the crew, thanks so much and happy ball hockey.